Hello. All right. So beautiful. I'm gonna be in the corner of your screen for now. Lynx is here, everybody. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, yep.
All right. Lovely. I'm so glad you're here.
I am so grateful to be here.
So this is Lynx. She's also going to be one of the co-hosts on Lolcow Queens. I think I got the name right.
Yes, you did.
Shoo-wee! We back here covering another ReviewTechUSA video, and it's gonna be a fun one. This time, Rich brings on somebody he's gonna be simping over the entire time, and it's cringe from start to beginning. The first time we talked about ReviewTechUSA, we went over his recent issues and breakup with his editor Jay, and then we did a second video where we covered his recent breakdowns and meltdowns on livestream. And now to round it out with a third one here, we're gonna be looking at some of his recent cringy behavior. There's rumors going around that apparently his own family blocked him from coming downstairs and getting some turkey on good old Thanksgiving. So he had to sit up there, smell the beautiful cooking coming from his parents, and he couldn't even come down and get just a little nibble. Sad times here in the ReviewTechUSA world. We're gonna jump right in and see this absolute beautiful cringe content.
She has had to deal with Becky behind the scenes, and she can, well, whatever she's allowed to say, she can say how much of a psychotic that she is and go into things that I don't even know about. So she was a pleasure to work with, I should say, right?
No, far from. She was impossible. It was absolutely ridiculous. I can't.
So like, what are some of the things that, like, first off, with the wardrobe bullshit, I know she used to do like the OnlyFans stuff. I know she has more wardrobe. Like, what the f was that about?
So the wardrobe was more actually about me because I have my own business. So I always have like paint and stuff on my shirt, and I'm always wearing like sweaters and stuff. So Keemstar wanted me to just be aware that, hey, you're on camera, you know, look the best you can. So I said, all right, new wardrobe, got it. And she took that as, we need new wardrobe. And then later on had asked him for $1,000 front for wardrobe, even though I was the one who needed the new wardrobe this whole time. And might I add, I paid for it myself because I was just gonna put it back in once I got my first pay, you know, like crazy.
So I could probably speak for everybody who's watching this video on the internet that we are definitely not surprised that Rich is going to invest even more time into slandering this woman online that he claims he doesn't care about and has no affiliation with. But yet he's been dedicating weeks and weeks of his life online in the rubble of his career to make sure that he kills it even more by continuing to drag this alleged nobody through the mud even further. But on top of that, apparently now there's going to be a now female version of the Lolcow podcast, and that's very interesting to me, and I think maybe to all of you as well. So let's continue to hear what this woman has to say. But so far it definitely does sound like working with this alleged streetwalker, as Rich likes to put her, has not been fun. But I mean, hey, is it ever fun working with anybody?
So yeah, everything goes back to money, and and she always tries to hide it behind something else. That's why with Grace, she was trying to get her booted, like this, God forbid, allegedly being an abuse victim. Like, why should she be canned for being a victim? It's about money.
So me and Becky were both going to walk off the show. However, my issue was Ben, her father, who's the perpetrator, who's, you know, the bad guy here, right? And if he was involved in the show, I didn't want to be involved in the show.
That part I would get. I get that.
So when I found out Ben was handled, I decided, and you watched the stream, I decided, you know what, my hands are off. I'm staying here. Like, I'm good. You know, I don't want anything, right? I didn't want to rock the boat or anything. And further in this stream, she, like, while this was all going on, after it happened, she sent me a voicemail, and she's like, I don't think we can be friends anymore. Like, I just don't trust you. Like, and I was like, I literally offered to give my spot up on like Lolcow Queens for her, and everyone was like threw it under the rug. And I was like, okay, clearly they don't want her back. I mean, I tried, you know, and I needed this opportunity more than her. And I know you haven't seen the stream today, but I'm actually extremely upset because she made fun of my disability and outed publicly that I was on support, $1,000 a month, which doesn't cover much when I'm paying for me and my grandfather, and tried to use that against me.
So I don't think it should be twisted at all. I don't think this Becky Boop girl is like any saint by any stretch of the imagination. They're all lolcows in their own right, and at this point, they're all just grazing in my field, and I'm just watching for the entertainment. I like to take in old cows and rehabilitate them a bit, give them some good years before they end up kicking the bucket. And that's what I'm doing here with good old Rich. You know, Rich put in some good years on YouTube, and you know, I think it's only fair we give him a good send-off and a nice, comfy, healthy field of grass for him to be chewing on. Seems like this girl and Becky are gonna be clashing. Seems like they're gonna be very catty, and it seems like it's already gonna start with some jabs as she's like, "You on disability, girl?" And it's like, sheesh, let the whole world know, why don't you? And at the end of the day, I don't really think that's like the most embarrassing thing. If like you obviously have a disability, obviously you're usually gonna get some assistance for that. Not that embarrassing in my opinion, but you know how people are, perceptions are everything. Let's continue.
Now, for clarity, I have hearing aids and FASD. Not that it matters, because even I could afford and could actually motivate myself enough to go and get a USB port. Just saying.
Yeah, and the irony of her doing that too, when she uses her having arthritis for the reason that she won't leave bed all day.
Yeah, like it's wild. And to like compare, like she brought it up out of nowhere, and it was like, girl, like this doesn't make your argument look good. Like it just ruins what you're trying to say, you know? Like it doesn't do anything for you, so why are you bringing this up?
What else did she demand besides that? Because again, I called her out on it. I went into the Lolcow stream. She I almost forgot about it. She definitely has a camera. I gave her one. So what's all that about?
I love that Rich is gonna be the first one to talk trash about this girl, but at the first moment he can, hey, I bought her a nice camera now. Why isn't she using it? You know what she probably did with that camera, brother? She probably took it on down to the Walmart and returned it and got her monies out of it. That's what probably happened, brother. You got used, brother. You were just an ATM. You were a credit card, if you will, with no interest, brother. You were the 5-finger discount of the year for that girl. And unfortunately, it just seems like you're a little salty about it. But the good thing is, you did create her, you did give her enough clout to now that we might actually be able to use her for content as well, because she seems like a lovely individual.
So she said how she kept changing how, oh, like we're gonna need this, like I'm gonna need that, like is there all these things you can do? And she just started being, sorry, there's like so many tabs open right now and I don't know where to look. She just kept being demanding and kept bringing up things, and one of the main things was she's the one who brought up to Keemstar the issue with the 4-pay split and how she didn't really feel it was fair because that's not what we agreed to. But then today she outed that it was 4% and it wasn't that big of a deal, and it's like, girl, you're literally crawling back here because you know that you're gonna have to start an OnlyFans to pay your bills now that you just ruined this opportunity for yourself.
Yeah, this is what she's done a billion times. She goes into something, she has a fucking big brain idea, and then she stops after like 5 minutes or squanders it, and here we go again.
It's wild. Like and she kept trying to play it against me today, like, oh, you thought I was your big sister. Actually, yeah, I considered you like really close, and we were talking every single day for like 5 hours a day, sometimes 2, like it didn't matter, but like every single day we were talking, planning the show, and then all of a sudden she just kind of snapped, got greedy, like out of nowhere.
Damn, girl, you learned the hard way, especially when it comes to business, and this is some good advice for anybody listening. When it comes to business, definitely put your emotions a little bit to the left and don't wear them on your sleeve, because even though you're doing business with people you might consider friends, it's business at the end of the day, and they're gonna do what helps them the most, and a lot of the times that happens to not be what's gonna help you the most, if you know what I mean. Now, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna think that, yeah, you do have some sort of deeper relationship when you spend a lot of time at work with people, but at the end of the day, it's just a work relationship, which is much like a periphery friend. They're there, and you might have some sort of surface level relationship, but that's all it is a surface level relationship. And the moment you chart, and the moment you think you can dig in a little bit for some support, you're gonna fall right through and fall to your doom. So, hopefully we all learned a good lesson here. Can't wait to see all the comments for the people being like, Swamp Dweller hasn't said anything negative about this girl yet. He's probably gooning to her. You're right, brother, I'm gooning. I'm going in right now.
Wow, I never see that. Wow, she almost has a pattern. That's what she does. She makes you, in the beginning, she seems like so normal for at least for a while. And then it goes, yeah, this is, dude, Firefox is doing the same thing. I'm having technical issues, dude. And YouTube always crashes no matter what browser I use. But yeah, she'll start off being completely normal. Everything, like you, and she just seems like a well-rounded person. And then it's like a light switch just out of fucking nowhere. Like, when did she finally like do that flip with you? Was it the whole thing where like about Grace, or was it something else? Like, what really started it?
So it actually was about Grace, because she was like, I'm not really comfortable with Keemstar bringing this person in without addressing us. And I was like, I think we should, maybe make it to the first show, because that's not something we should be bringing up. Like, we have no say yet. Like, we have no stardom. We have no nothing, right? Like, there's no leg to stand on. Sorry, Tina. But it's like...
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Okay. I love Tina, so I'm not throwing any shade either. Continue.
And I cannot wait for you and Tina to interact. It is going to be amazing. I'm super excited for it.
From what I'm understanding, there is some typical shenanigans going on here behind the scenes. Becky definitely wants to be the star of the show and doesn't want anybody else on there, because assumably she would have to give up some of that revenue split she would have been getting from it. And you know how people are, they want to get all their monies. But on top of that, seems like she would rather go the road of being conniving and stabbing knives in people's back instead of letting rising tides lift all ships. If the show did really well and you had 3 co-hosts going on there all making a percentage deal, then you would all actually probably make more money if you worked together hard enough to make the show really successful. If you got a ton of views, a ton of sponsorships, etc. This is one of those situations where I really truly mean work smart, not hard. You don't want to screw yourself out of a bigger bag down the road because you're thinking short-sighted. Also, to be honest, being the star of anything kind of sucks, because then you become the face, and even though you aren't necessarily the one making all the decisions, anytime something questionable or unsavory happens with that brand, it's gonna come back to you.
She brings Keem into this call, and you think that it's gonna be like, oh, all about Grace, and then all of a sudden it was about the money, and you said this and you said that, and I'm like, why are you bringing me into this when, like, yes, I'm the one who like would, out of the 4 girls, have the most financial issues, but I'm also the one who like dealt with it myself. Like, my whole room I renovated and everything, and I did that all myself in preparation to show like how much I wanted this opportunity, and I was just baffled. And then I called her right after, and I was like, hey, like, I think you're on thin ice, because I think you might be voted off. Like, the way that you talked to Keem was kind of screwed up, because it was very demanding and almost like psychotic, the way she was like, well, you said, and it's like, okay, but if it's not on paper, like, did he say it?
Now, I am a little dubious of this girl's claims as well. She makes it seem like she's some sort of saint and did everything herself, haven't even asked a penny, even though she's the brokest one of them all. And I don't necessarily know if I 100% believe all that. I feel like maybe she might be just playing it out to get reimbursement down the line, but it just seems a little strange to me that she'd be like, yeah, this person's just demanding all this money and all this other stuff and all this help, but me, the person that actually needs it, I haven't done anything. I've been a complete angel. Just seems a little overcompensation for something, you know what I mean? But she does bring up a good point. I mean, unless you have that in writing, unless you have some sort of formal agreement that you can show where it says he's gonna provide XYZ, you're kinda SOL.
Because she's claiming he said one thing, and what Keemstar's claiming is actually true. Like, he never promised anything. He actually complained that he had spent like so much money preparing for it, and then she's asking for all this money for what, wardrobe, when she dresses like a woman already? Like, me, it's different.
Is she walking? Are you walking? Hey, she's in the chat too. You realize that this is a terrible look for you, Becky, all around, right? I knew you were going to do this and fuck this up again. You realize this is an absolutely awful look for you. All right, you're getting some publicity right now, but who the fuck is going to want to work with you after this?
One thing that does get kind of old about Keemstar is he's constantly complaining about, I have to invest all this money, I have to put this startup, blah, 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 blah. It's like, you have to anyway. It's your idea, it's your startup, that's how it works. Complaining about it makes no sense. It's not like you've made millions upon millions of dollars from YouTube, your game developments, and everything else that you've got going on in life. Stop complaining, it's part of business. It doesn't make you look any more amicable, and I know that the lolcows around you are usually dumb, and they'll hear that and they'll be like, oh wow, Keem's a great guy, he's doing good stuff for us. But in reality, Keemstar is just old and played out. Like, nobody cares how much money you put into it. You made the decision to start up and invest in all these weirdos, you're the one that's going to have to carry that burden on your chest, and you're going to have to carry it very quietly because we don't want to hear that shit. Keemstar definitely thinks he's the modern day Howard Stern with these cast of characters, that's for sure. And I mean, to an extent, Lolcow Live have had some great moments, but it's definitely a far cry away from the old Howard Stern shenanigans. Now, to counter what Rich is saying here, honestly, the same people who would probably give her the opportunity to be on this Lolcow Queens or Cow Queens or Queen Cows or whatever the heck this show is called would probably still want to work with her, because the more crashing out you do as a Lolcow, it seems the more doors that open for you.
Not that you really care, because you don't leave bed for more than like 30 minutes a day. So anyway, continue though. Let her cry in the chat.
And then she continues to break her NDA, and something I thought was funny is she's like, me breaking my NDA was actually a setup for you. How is it a setup when I didn't tell anyone that you broke your NDA because we were friends? But if I was going to stab you in the back, wouldn't that be the first thing I run to Keemstar with? And also, how is you breaking your NDA setting me up if you actually broke your NDA? Like, she would just say things, and she's so fucking hypocritical, because she would say to me like, we just got to make it to the first show, but then turned around and asked for all this stuff and complained and said like, I don't really think it's fair. Meanwhile, I'm happy with like whatever is given to me because I want this opportunity and I think it's really cool.
The fact that we're having this many issues and we haven't even recorded one episode yet, I kinda understand where the frustration from Keemstar was coming now. That's definitely crazy. You're having all these demands, you want a wardrobe, you want all this money, you need all these resources for what? To sit down in front of a webcam and talk about some stuff? It's actually diabolical work out there. But this is what you get, Keemstar, when you decide to work with these types of people. This is the type of environment you're gonna be in. Becky does sound a bit delusional though, like, god dang girl, how are you really going in circles here? It shouldn't be that hard to understand what's going on here. You need to put in a little bit of work if you want to get some return, right? You're not just gonna get the world in a handbasket right from the onset, regardless of who's running or fronting all the money for this. It really shows who you are as a person, that you are so worried about other people stabbing you in the back, because clearly you've already been stabbing people in the back and your intentions are that way. So if you have nefarious intentions and want to, mess around and screw your coworkers around, that's probably why you think they're doing the same.
And I was like, why
you got to start somewhere too.
Yeah, exactly.
Same with her. I know, Becky, for some reason in your warped narcissistic mind that you think you're wildly successful because you have a piece of paper from Harvard. But what have you done? I know you're here to do the interview, and she's stream sniping essentially.
Go ahead.
Like, what have you done? Like, what have you accomplished besides that piece of paper?
I don't know how much I believe the piece of paper, because she refuses to actually show an HD photo of it with or without her name in it. And a lot of people in like Discord in the community are breaking it down, saying that they don't believe that it's real. If it is, it is. If it isn't, it isn't. But what's the point of a Harvard degree if you just sit on your ass all day?
Yeah, and then she goes, oh, I have to because of my rheumatoid arthritis. Oh, I have to because I'm taking Mounjaro. Like, I know people that have rheumatoid arthritis. I know people that take, or there's off-brands of Mounjaro too. Like, that's all you do, and that's all she does. You do nothing. You just make it like you're so accomplished and you don't do fuck all.
Shoo-wee, boys, it's absolutely diabolical to see how deep this lore runs, and we're only surface level with these ladies. Now it seems to come to our attention here that Becky is a smart one. She's a little smarter than she's letting on, and maybe that's where all this manipulation and all these tactics come from. Now, what's coming across the desk here is Becky has a Harvard certificate out here? Sheesh, boy, she apparently is a brainiac. It seems like the common sense and her business acumen aren't too good. She couldn't have gone to Harvard Business School, but it seems to be in question that this might not even be a real piece of paper here. Might be fraudulent, might be some shenanigans going on for her to try to up herself up a little bit more money out there. There can be people with severe enough fibromyalgia and other forms of arthritis that could keep them bedridden. That's actually something that runs in my family, and it's pretty brutal, but I can tell you, exercise and keeping yourself active will actually combat that quite a bit. So, I don't know. Laying around is never gonna help. You're just gonna deteriorate that way. I agree with Rich on this one point. Let's motivate everybody to stay active.
Yeah, she's literally so hypocritical, and
Oh, she wants to call in, I hear, by the way. Should I have her call in? That would be great.
I mean, either here or we can save it for Queens.
No, you know what, Becky? I would love to have a chat with you. I'll have a chat with you on Lolcow Queens. How about that? You could stay here and bitch and cry in the chat. Did you tell Keem about the old technology that I gave you, like the camera? That would have been more than capable of you using it for the show? What kind of iPhone do you have, too? Anyway, continue. This is what she wanted, this distraction.
I also think it's really funny that she like made this argument, oh, I didn't have my setup again today because I'm fired from the show. Okay, but again, if it was me, I would have my setup ready and I'd bring my game and prove why I deserve to be there. If one little USB, whether it's snowing or not, Richie, her boyfriend or ex-boyfriend or whatever, literally just said in the Discord that he would have been willing to bring it to her had she have asked. Her mom was over helping her set up. Why couldn't her mom bring it over? I know she says there's all these things, but like, I gotta hop out in a second.
What was the cable? Was it you? I know it's kind of like semantics, but
yeah, it's just that the camera that we have is a Face Pro or something like that, and it's USB-C, not USB. And apparently she didn't have a USB-C import on her computer anywhere, so she needed a converter. But like, you can get those anywhere, and because they're like these little small things.
They sell them on Amazon. You could get USB-A to USB-C. And wasn't the computer brand new from Keem?
Yep. Brand spanking new right out of the box.
So how the fuck did you not have a USB-C port on there? And even if you didn't, it's something you could get delivered to you. I don't care if you live in the Rocky fucking Mountains.
She had both time, and she passed the blame on Keemstar for not doing the research and sending her the right things. And it's like, girl, you could have researched your own equipment. I did.
And I know she researches everything.
I was just gonna say, if there's any final questions, I'll ask or answer.
What else did she? I keep on hearing she was super entitled behind the scenes. What was another example of that?
I'm trying to think, because there's honestly so many of them. One of them, she had mentioned how she might deserve more of a pay because she's doing more work. And it's like, yeah, but like, if you look at Tina's bringing in a huge audience. Tina is going to be amazing to watch on Lolcow Queens because she is absolutely hilarious.
She's fucking funny. Yeah, I know.
Exactly. And it's just like, I don't think she knew her place. I think that was the biggest problem.
In the end, she was entitled. She asked for a whole bunch of shit and gave nothing back, essentially, is what you're saying.
Basically. And she would like come up with problems, but give no solution. But I mean, when we go on Lolcow Live, we can get all into this. She can make all the claims she wants. And, you know, it's going to be crazy getting you both on it.
And with that, my friends, we are done with this particular look at Rich and his recent shenanigans. So now we are going to have to wait until him and good old Becky can duke it out on Lolcow Queens. I'm definitely interested to see how this show goes. I'm sure it's going to be just as smooth and fun as the regular Lolcow Live podcast. Anything Keem seems to have his fingers in usually turns out to be quite a bit of a crapshoot, that's for sure. Thank you guys so much for supporting this channel the way you do. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to hit that like button, helps me out a ton. Be sure to comment down below. Would love to know your opinions about Rich, this whole situation he's been going through, and his sad downfall. I'd love to know your thoughts about Lolcow Queens, and if you would like to see me cover more of them in the future when they have some content coming out. Be sure to subscribe if you're new. We're on our way to 20,000, and I'll see you guys soon.